Okay, I'm about to lock up as soon as these guys are off, and that'll be the only way you guys can get out there.
Thank you very much.
Good game.
Thanks.
And welcome to Education, Leadership, and Beyond, Surviving and Thriving. And yes, it is freezing out here. My name is Andrew Murata, host of the show, and we are live near Brockport, New York. I don't even know the name of the town we're in, but we're near Brockport, New York. We are on the field here in Webster, New York, actually. And we just got done with a baseball game, just got done watching the Syracuse baseball team, the club team play, the club team from Brockport. And the reason we're here is my nephew, Chris Carbonaro, is a senior at Syracuse. And we wanted to make time to come and see him. So we're going to have a conversation here with Chris in a minute. And it's Sunday of Columbus Day weekend. It is probably 40 degrees. It feels like it's 30. And Chris just caught 9 innings here in Webster, New York. But welcome to the program, everyone, and excited to have Chris on today. So I always do prep work, getting ready for each and every show. And, what do I want to talk about? I try to have it around my guest, have the concept built around my guest. And I heard a great song by Brothers Osborne, and that's what was playing when we opened the show here. While You Still Can is the name of that song. And that song really hit home, right? I've been meaning to come see Chris for the last couple of years on his club team playing baseball. And, life gets in the way. Life is busy. But we made it a priority, and we made it here. And I was happy to be able to come while we still can, right? While Chris is still a senior, while I'm able to come here, and he was on the team. And we want to do those things while you still can. So that's the opening concept, right? Things are happening in your life. Hi, Claire. You can come wave hello real quick. Claire Murata just brought us something to drink, and she ran away. But life goes quick, right? Life happens, and do the things while you still can. And I'm going to ask Chris about that, right? He's on the club team at Syracuse. He played high school baseball, and it would have been real easy for him to just say, yeah, you know what? Syracuse doesn't have a real baseball team or a varsity baseball team, and I'll just pack it in. But he wanted to keep playing, and while he still can, he made it a priority for him to be able to play. Live in moments like they're your last, right? A player for Brockport, it must have been his last game, and they pulled him out of the game with 2 outs in the ninth, and got a standing ovation. And, that's it for him, right? His career is over. So do the things that you want to do in your life while you still can. And that's a great song by Brothers Osborne, and we'll get that back on the at the end of the show. So if you have, a lot of wind here, we're live. But if you're having a problem with someone, right? If there's things that are going bad in your life, make amends with that person. Take the moments with your family. Again, another reason I wanted to come up here to upstate New York. We're going to spend the weekend. We're going to take Chris out to eat and spend some time with the kids. And we left at 6 something this morning. But the kids are little, right? My kids are 12, 10, and 8. And, while they're still young and while we still can do these things together as a family. And, Chris is graduating here at Syracuse soon, and, life will move on. His other cousin Missy is watching the program live. Missy just graduated Sacred Heart University last year, and it went fast. So that's the opening concept. Take advantage of these things in your life while you still can, because as my dad used to say, life goes quickly. I see Harry Grimes is watching live in Florida. Hey, Uncle Harry. So that's the opening concept. Let's bring in Chris Carbonaro here and get him on the show. Chris, come on in. Let's make sure we can see you. There he is with his Syracuse hat. Let's get this here, Chris. We'll put this in between us.
All right.
How's that? All right. Can you see yourself?
Yeah.
There you are.
Good.
Pull in a little more. This is Chris Carbonaro, everyone. Welcome to the program, Chris.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for being out here. I don't know how you're not freezing.
I just played 9 innings. That's why.
You know? This is my nephew, Chris, and Chris is a senior at Syracuse University. And Chris, you heard what I had to say about the opening concept, right? Playing club baseball, you're driving here with your friends. There was maybe 50 people here today. There was no big rah-rah, but you wanted to continue playing baseball. You're at a big-time college. What was it that made you want to continue playing?
Well, I never really wanted to go play college baseball. If I was good enough, maybe I would have tried a little bit harder to pursue a scholarship or something in that realm. But I knew I didn't know if I had the chops for that, and I kind of didn't want that to hold me down either. I wanted to go to a school that I really wanted, that was big enough and that I felt at home with, regardless of if there was baseball involved. Obviously, I wanted to keep playing. Yeah. And when I got to Syracuse, it kind of worked out perfectly for me. I met some of my best friends still are lived on my freshman year floor. That doesn't happen for everybody. Yeah. I lucked out there, and then a week later after moving in, I tried out for the baseball team and I made it. And it's the only baseball team on campus. There's no varsity.
No varsity orange.
No ACC orange baseball team. So I am on the Syracuse baseball team. That's good enough for me. We're scrappy. We show up when we can. It's pretty casual. We coach ourselves, but we win. We win some games and beat Penn State a couple times in my 4 years, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't ask for anything else.
It was nice to see you today and meet some of your teammates. But I admire you guys. You're not on a coach bus, and you came out here on your own. It's freezing. It was cold, but it was a good game. 5-4. Brockport won today.
It was a tight one. Not my best performance at the plate, but that's it is what it is there.
So again, you also heard what opening concept about while you still can. Are you starting to feel some of that now, Chris, as you're a senior? The time on as being a college student is coming to an end.
Yeah, it's scary. It's definitely in the back of my mind. I'm not trying to think about it too much now. I know that it's something that it does bother me when it does creep in there. Yeah. But a part of me, I think I'll feel like a little bit more like this in the spring, is that I'm almost ready to start my life and get ready to go. I mean, I've had the best 4 years of my life, and that's what you're supposed to do. Yeah. But I honestly think I lucked out. It doesn't work out like that for everybody. I know for sure. But there does come a point when you're just like, okay, I guess I could go now. Sure.
Now, Chris, education in our family is huge. That's for you. Your grandparents on our side, very, very important education. Your mom, your dad. What made you pick Syracuse?
Well, it was between, you mentioned Missy, it's between Sacred Heart and Syracuse. Okay. I felt at home at both places. And Missy and I, have obviously been super close since birth. Basically.
Almost like brother and sister.
Yeah. And so part of me wanted to go and follow Missy there and hang out and, like we always do. But I just found my place walking around campus at Syracuse. You can ask my mom. She's like, you just ditched us when we were walking around, and it was like you own the place, and just started walking everywhere by yourself. And that's how I knew that was it, and that's how I knew too. But to be fair, we sat in a diner that day, and because I had to pick pretty quickly. I had a limited time to pick based on the scholarship that I was given. I could have gone to Sacred Heart for basically nothing, and I had a not as good deal to go to Syracuse, but it was the better choice by a lot. And I'm glad that I was able to realize that, because I was very close to not going, and I think I would have regretted it.
What's your major again?
I'm studying marketing management and television, radio, and film. I'm a dual major in the Whitman School of Management and Newhouse School of Communications.
Are we gonna feature education, leadership, and beyond in your classes here as marketing?
Yeah, I'll be spreading it around for sure.
Well, and I did just hire a marketing company to help me with the things that I'm doing. So I might be coming to you, when you get graduated here.
That'd be great.
Chris, what do you think you'll miss most about your time at Syracuse?
Living the way that I've been living. The lifestyle that you gain while you're at school it's very work hard, play hard. That's a little not unoriginal, but it's true. Like, you have to really manage your time, but also you want to have the most fun as possible. Like, I'm not afraid to go out when I probably on a night that maybe I should have gone to the library, as long as I make up for it on the back end. And I'll miss living with the best friends that I've made in my entire life. That's like, like I said, I lucked out. I have a couple different pockets of friends that have really had a real big impact on my life. My freshman year friends are still some of the closest friends that I have. I have my fraternity that I love. And
what's the name of your fraternity?
Psi Upsilon. We are the Pi chapter.
Psi Upsilon.
Psi Upsilon, yeah. Big white house in the middle of campus. It's crazy. People are like, is that a fraternity house? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
Super weird on the middle of campus. But it's like, I'll never get to live like that again. I'll never get to, when you're around all these people all the time, that's how you really become close with them. Living with somebody, like multiple people like that, is
sure
exactly how you make those relationships.
Chris, one of the things in my role as a high school principal is getting our kids college ready and career ready. Do you feel that you were prepared academically for when you arrived on campus from your time in Ewing? I'd
like to say yes, but part of me is saying not even a little bit, just in terms of it's such a different lifestyle in high school, and the things that you're learning. There's a lot of things that I learned in high school that will never be applicable again. I haven't taken a math class since my freshman year. Yeah. And but like, there's things like, I always say that I've missed out on the life class. Like, there's no class on life. There's no class on what to do when you go to the bank. There's no class on, some people don't even know how to like write a letter. And I think we're going to get into that later with like my generation.
Sure,
but like, there's common sense things that people would consider common sense, are things that I wish that I would have, almost like logistical things, like time management, budgeting, financial, like personal finance, like managing the money that you're spending at school is one of the hardest things to do. Oftentimes I'm broke, and it's like, where did this money go? Oh, I spent it on, why did I order Chinese last night? And so I think things like that would have been helpful.
There's a 50% success rate, kids coming home that go away to college. God, this wind here. Let me try to figure out this microphone here. Yeah. But, kids not being successful in college, right? So many times, whether it's at my school or, schools, the kids go away, it's exciting, it's fun, and then they're home, right? Because they don't do those things. So that is something that's important for a college student. And are you looking for that for real? Like, when you leave Syracuse, is that something that you're looking forward to, about, kind of being on your own and budgeting and learning those things in the real world?
Yeah, for sure. And I've been trying to do it while I've been at school as well. I've been trying to manage my finances and my time, just because I know that when you're working a salary, there's no room for error, really. Yeah. You get fired. There's not a fail.
That can happen.
Yeah. There's not I'll just do better on the next test. I may have to look for a new job. Yeah. So I definitely understand the gravity of that, and I've been trying to like prepare myself with that, and finding a way in each of my classes to find. Ooh. Wow, the wind is really bad.
The wind is really bad. Are you cold? You want to?
No, I'm fine actually. Okay. But just trying to pick something from each of my classes, even no matter if it seems irrelevant, to try and pick something that could be applicable in any kind of way. Like, I'm in my capstone class right now, and it's basically, you're in a business team. You have to come up with an idea, an original product, and see it through from idea to launch.
So what is your product? What's your thing you're doing?
The product that we're going with, it's taken us a while to think of a viable idea, because our professor is very, very critical wants you to pick something that really has an impact on like a specific need.
Yeah.
And a lot of like people carry around pepper spray on their like keys or in their backpacks and stuff. But it's really clunky, and it's tucked away. It's in your backpack or it's on your keys. Like it's not available when you would need it. So we came up with an idea to put it on a bracelet, but it already kind of exists. There is one on Amazon that has the basically just on the wrist. And it's like but it's just like it's an ugly. Nobody's gonna wear it. Nobody's gonna buy it and wear it. We want to make it like sort of how like Fitbits have like those
fashionable.
They're fashionable. It's an extension of like your outfit. And not that I know much about that, but that's why I have teammates to help me figure that stuff out. But we want it like for people to wear, so when they're walking home at night that they can feel safe, and it works on the bracelet instead of having it.
How about the cell phone too? Maybe on the cell phone case.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
We'll get in on that. I'll collaborate with you. We'll market that. Chris, you know, you mentioned your major and what you're doing. You know, if you had a magic wand and you were able to kind of wherever I can go, you know, where would you want to land when you graduate?
Well, you know me, I'm a big movie guy. This film major of mine is something I really take super seriously. I really want to go into development on films. I want to work with a development executive and eventually become a producer. See a script from idea to through production to getting the financing to post-production to the premiere. I want to see it all. Yeah. That's what I hope to one day either be working in the marketing department for a studio, which is another thing. It's one way to go into it, and then hopefully be able to pick the projects that I want to work on, get to a point where in the industry where I can like look for projects and have things in development and see them through to creation. I think like that's the coolest thing. If I could say to my dad one day, or you or whoever, like my family, be like, don't tell anybody, but I'm working on this movie right now, and it's going to be crazy.
Star Wars 12.
Yeah.
Chris, so it's October of your senior year in college. You know, a year from now, you know, 16 months from now, 18 months from now, what is your plan to make that happen?
To get a job, hopefully.
In that industry.
Ideally, I want to try and get a job hopefully before graduation. That way I have something, I have an agenda and I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to go. But I know that that's not often the reality, especially in the communications and television field. It's really like based on need.
We might blow away here. Hold on. Oh my God. We should have done this in the dugout. Yeah. We're out on the infield, and I think the next hurricane is coming up here. Is this this is the lake effect?
Yeah, I think so.
We're right off Lake Ontario, but yet if you look at the flag over there, it's hardly moving. Well, we can't really move this now. We're gonna stick with it and keep rolling as our theme last year. So I'm sorry, you were saying. So how do you?
It's getting a job in that industry, and Missy's seeing that now. It's really tough because it's all based on need. Any kind of media job is very need based. Like,
you have to start at like a lower level. You have to start like kind of.
If I'm for me, if I'm either going to start as a marketing associate, which is like basically a step up from an intern, or a development assistant, which is me doing all the nitty gritty, like getting coffee and scheduling and things like reading scripts and writing coverage and things like that. It's very low level stuff, but once you're there for a little while and you prove yourself, and then that's when you get promoted and be able to handle your own projects.
And Chris, how much is of your social media tactics and your skill on social media? Like if they see Chris Carbonaro is a whiz at this and he's making cool stuff and putting out cool posts, is that something that can elevate you?
Definitely. I mean, social media is a very, very important thing, and I'm sure you're seeing that now.
I am.
Your own podcasts and things. For my internship this summer, one of the jobs that one of the things I completed actually was a content calendar for the company to start using social media more actively, because I didn't have too much of a presence on social media. So I got to actually see, like, as I went back to school, I got to see the tweets that I wrote, going out, and the Instagram posts. But it's definitely really important. It's a big credibility thing. If you have a interactive and well thought out and developed social media presence, if you're posting content regularly and it's professional looking and it's got some kind of style, then it's very credible, especially for a business. I think that businesses definitely look at that. And if you could look, there's tons of examples of companies that do it so well. Like Starbucks is one of the best that I've seen. Netflix is very good. A lot of the baseball teams, also a lot of the MLB teams. I don't know if you and sports teams in general have done an amazing job, like transitioning to that because it's so important. I could tell you that I get most of my sports highlights from Instagram alone because the MLB account posts everything that I need to see.
And Chris, with the innovation of cell phones and all that kind of stuff, did you learn early on, like as a freshman in college, a senior in high school, like I better not put dumb, crazy, wild college stuff on this because it doesn't go away. And like you're trying to get a job 6 years later and they're pulling up. I mean, look at this thing that happened with Kavanaugh and all of this kind of stuff. Is that something you learned early on? Like,
well, it's really coming to light now, for sure. I don't know if you heard about James Gunn, the director of Guardians of the Galaxy, was fired from Guardians of the Galaxy 3 because
I did not hear
tweets that he had already like apologized for. They were jokes that he had made, very poor taste jokes. And they were offensive and whatever, but they were from like 6 years ago, from like 2011. And he got fired because somebody brought it to light again. Sure. Disney's like, their hands are tied. You know what I mean? So it's super, super important to be clean on social media just so that kind of thing doesn't happen because anything can be taken out of context. It's not in this kind of climate. There's nothing really you can do about that. You just have to be smart about what you say because it's always out there, like you said. But there's also certain things like in a less serious sense, there's certain practices that you adopt. Like I've grown, like my generation has pretty much grown up with this stuff, and there's certain things that you don't post on Instagram just because you're not going to get that many likes. And that's like at the lowest level of importance, but that's like a thing that people actually worry about. If you post at a certain time, if you post a certain kind of picture, it's got a filter, it's like stupid things like that. But those are things that like my generation and kids my age will like adopt to do.
And like if you're having a party at that frat house in Syracuse, is there like
we have strict social media policy because anything
don't
can be
be filming that, posting that, right?
Because anything can be taken out of context.
Sure. Yeah, you're trying to go for a job interview a year from now, and they're pulling up a video from the frat house. That's not good. That's not fair. And so, is that something that they don't let people take their phones out?
We harp on it every chapter meeting that we have. Like, please just stay off social media when you're in the house because you never know. Yeah. And it's not that we're doing anything bad. It's just that you don't want that out there because it could be taken as stupidity and unprofessionalism when you're looking for a job and things like that. And you don't want, and it could get you in trouble with the university, especially if you're doing something that their policy is if it looks like a party, if it smells like a party, if it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, then it's probably
a party.
So that's pretty much the university policy in that realm. So we just try to be careful with that stuff. It's not like I said, it's not that we're doing anything wrong. It's just that
being college kids. I get it. Along those lines, Chris, it's October 2018. Your 21st birthday is coming up.
Next week.
The theme again, while you still can, you're turning 21. What does that mean for you? Take out alcohol, I'm legal, this and that. Take that out of it, right? Because that's stereotypical. What does it mean to you, though, as you're turning 21?
I go back to the whole thing where it's like almost getting your life started. Not that I haven't been living up to this point, obviously, but I feel like I'm fully an adult when you're 21. And it's been a little bit weird for me because I'm the youngest of all my friends. I'm the last one. So when I go home and I see all my friends from in Ewing, well, finally I'll be able to go out and hang out at the bar or whatever. But I even here, it's tough to because everybody's going and there's not anything to do. That's where people are going to go. And I'm just like, oh, I'll see you guys later. But it's that's been tough. But it really is like a getting your life started thing. I feel like that's a thing that people do. It's just a casual thing. Like, oh, we're going to go get drinks after work. You know what I mean? I'm so ready for to meet my friends after work. Like if I'm just working in the city or wherever, have that option. It's all about having that option. It's the ease of things. And
Sure. And that's coming up here soon. And we're happy to take you out to eat today. No drinks for you. Oh my God, this microphone. We should have done this in the dugout in hindsight, but it wasn't this windy when we started.
No, it wasn't.
And it wasn't this windy when you were playing.
Well, hopefully it doesn't come out so bad.
along those lines, Chris, I was going to ask you about millennials, but my first question is your generation, are you considered a millennial? Are you on the tail end of that?
Every time I Google it, I get a different answer. It always comes up because we nobody really knows the distinction. It changes from perspective to perspective. And I think that I'm like right on the cusp of could go either way.
Sure. What's the next one called? Is there a name yet for the next?
Gen Z, I think it's called Generation Z. That's Matthew and Claire, and those talk about Claire's first cell phone is an iPhone 6S.
That's right.
And my first cell phone was a purple flip phone.
Well, when they, talking about that, whatever they call you, Gen Z, millennial, you hear a lot of negative stuff. You hear just about social media. You hear that kind of stuff. For someone who's living it, what do you respond with? What do you say?
I think they get a bad rap. Millennials. You see it now, even like in commercials. There's like a WB Mason campaign. Dealing with millennials at work, and it's like it's supposed to be funny, but like it's like always attached to the phone, always online. Yeah, that's true, but that's just the way it is now.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of adults in your generation that act as millennials. I would say my mom is one of them. My mom has more followers on Twitter than me and most of my friends combined. She's got almost 2,000 followers on
Susie
Twitter.
Prof. If you're following along.
Shameless plug right there.
Shameless plug for mom.
But she
you hear that, mom? Extra meatballs at dinner when he comes home.
But no, yeah, she is like one of those people that uses social media like a millennial would.
Sure.
And that's like just a normal practice now. So regardless of always being attached to the phone or not, we're not the only ones that are doing it.
Sure.
And I also don't think it's always a bad thing. Yes, when you get to things like serious things like distracted driving and texting and driving, but actually being there present while you're hanging out with your family and friends and things. I have an issue with when people are doing stuff, like having fun or whatever, the first instinct is to pull out your phone and take a Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not somebody that posts a lot of Snapchat stories or anything. I will when I feel like it, but it's not as often as a lot of people. Like a lot of people that's their first instinct, and it's always out, and you always see it, and that's why it's such a problem. Like we were talking about earlier, that people we have to say to stay off.
Sure.
Because it's just like a first instinct, and that's where I think it gets a little annoying.
Yeah.
On the millennial end of things, but there's a lot of adults that definitely do it.
Yeah.
Just sometimes worse.
And it's we know you. Again, Chris is my nephew. This is Chris Carbonaro, Syracuse senior. I mean, my kids are here. They were so excited to see you, Chris, and they've bonded with you over the years because you are invested in them. Fave, you are invested in them, and you do spend time with them, and you do engage with them, and we don't see that stuff you talked about as a negative. I mean, that's, like you said, something you grew up with. But my kids, just can't wait to go to dinner with you and so happy to come up here with you. And we're balancing this now with them, with their gadgets and their stuff. They're in the car warming up. I'm sure they're on their Kindles and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for you. I'm excited, for your graduation coming up here and looking forward to seeing you and our niece and your cousin, Melissa O'Rourke, kind of jump into this workforce and what can you do with that college education? Because now we're seeing, should some kids go to college, right? If they want to go into business, should they just go right into business and learn the hard way? So there's a balance there, because some people say entrepreneurs and business and marketing, just get to it.
Yeah.
It
all depends. A lot of times you can't even get your foot in the door without that piece of paper. A lot of times it really is just that piece of paper. Sometimes I've heard friends that I've graduated already are like, yeah, I didn't learn anything. I'm learning everything that I need to know from my job now.
Yeah.
That none of the things that I did in school really did anything. And I see that too. I feel like I've learned a lot more from my internships that I've had, that I've sought out myself and gone to get and learned on the go more so than I have in like a 300 level marketing class, but that's just because it's all for like a test. You're all like studying for a test and then it's gone, it's all the same information that you're going to be doing, but am I going to remember the difference between like a really fluffed up term of this thing that I do every day, or that normal like consumers do every day, or am I going to remember me how I can explain it because I did it? You know, I analyzed it and I did it like for a real company.
Or a mistake where you're doing the marketing for the minor league hockey team, and you mess up a highlight, or you do something wrong.
Right.
There's the school of hard knocks.
And, yeah. I think that's where you learn a lot. And I don't know. I think if you're gonna go into entrepreneurialism is very like, if you have a great idea, you can go for it and nobody's going to tell you that you can't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you do kind of sometimes need that piece of paper. And is that fair? No. And a lot of times, but because also a lot of people don't have the same opportunities. I'm very grateful that I was able to go to Syracuse, and had I not had the money that I was given to go, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's again goes back to your family and the commitment of your family to make this happen. And when you have your own family, you'll be sharing those lessons also. Chris, I know Syracuse has a huge alumni base, you know, and hopefully someone from Syracuse is going to watch this, whether it's Mike Tirico, whoever it is. We're going to give you an opportunity. What is your social medias? If people want to connect with you, if somebody's watching this and is going to give a young Syracuse grad an opportunity, how can people connect with you?
You can follow me on Twitter at carbs _ CARBS.
Is that like a dieting thing? What is it?
No. I've been called Carbs or Chris Carbs, or just my last name, Sid's T-Ball.
Yeah.
And it's followed me everywhere. It's like my close friends will call me Chris, but like, well, my close friends also call me Carbs. It's weird. Like
we heard them today. Your teammates, Carbs.
Different pockets of friends will call me Carbs depending on who you talk to, and it's followed me literally everywhere. Every baseball team I've been on, every school I've gone to.
There's gluten free, and then there's carbs.
Complex or simple.
Chris, say it again. Your social media?
Twitter is at Carbs.
Okay.
CARBS _.
And then Instagram or anywhere else there?
Instagram is _ Carbs, CARBS _
All right. Well, if you're one of those Syracuse alums, or you're someone in that marketing field, the film, and you're watching this and this gets to you, let's give Chris a shot here and get him out and get him working, and he'll do a good job for you. Chris, I know I'm freezing. I can see you shaking a little bit. Let's do our rapid fire, and then we'll go have a hot meal together.
Sounds good.
All right. You ready?
Yes.
This is a rapid fire. This trips up a lot of our guests here. So we're going to get you through this. Last book you read?
I'm reading right now Ready Player One, if that counts, by Ernest Cline. It just became a movie by Steven Spielberg.
Okay. Oh, yeah. That's why I heard of that. Okay.
It's very good.
Well, and I know you are Captain Movie. Last movie you saw?
I haven't been in a while, but
studying?
I would go Solo, Star Wars story, the Han Solo spin-off movie.
In all of the Star Wars, is it in the upper echelon of the Star Wars, mid, or the lower?
I'm gonna go lower.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's good. It is good though. Worth seeing, but it's not my favorite.
Okay, that's your fave. If we scroll through your iPhone, what type of music? Who's your favorite artist? What kind of music would we see?
I like to make a different playlist every couple months. Missy and I actually do that, and we'll share them together. But a lot of like electronic, like dance music, pretty casual though in that. And but in the summer I like to listen to like country music. The most common thing that I listen to is classic rock, all the oldies and that stuff.
80s rock.
Oh yeah,
yeah, bring it back. Best thing about being a student at Syracuse?
The people. I love the people at Syracuse. I've made, like I said, some of the best friends I've ever had. I probably ever will have, and I plan on living with them after school and keeping in contact. And like that's my life.
What percentage of clothes of yours are orange?
Most of. A lot. I would go 50%.
Oh, man. Worst thing about being a student at Syracuse?
Oh, the snow is so bad. We had our
lake
first,
effect.
We had the first snow day in 11 years last spring, and it was the best day ever. It was a great snow day, but it's brutal. I trudged to class in those boots.
Something that motivates you is?
My family. I want to be a role model for my family. Like your kids, my little cousins.
Yeah.
I try to have a good presence so that people can look up to me in that respect.
Chris has always made time and effort to spend time with his cousins, and we appreciate it. He's one of the big cousins, one of the big four out there.
Yep.
We got the little three here, but you got the big four. Three most important qualities of a successful college student.
Resourceful, resilient, and motivated.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. You got to be motivated to be successful.
If you can't get up in the morning, you're not going to the library until 1 o'clock.
3 words you would use to describe the Dome.
Loud, sweaty, and unreal. It's one of the coolest atmospheres.
It gets hot in there, huh?
It really does, yeah.
Hotter for basketball or hotter for football?
Football, just because the weather outside. It's hotter inside the dome than it is outside.
And there's more people.
And there's more people.
How many does it hold for football?
I don't know, but they do the whole dome is obviously open for that. And basketball, they do half.
Yeah. Most famous Syracuse athlete. I know you're newer with the, you're only a few years in, but in your opinion, the most famous Syracuse athlete?
Ernie Davis. He was the only one to win the Heisman.
Oh, football.
You're
going football.
I'm going football, but in recent memory, there was Michael. When my freshman year, when we went to the Final Four, that was the best year of basketball I've ever watched. Like I said, lucked out my freshman year. Final Four, one of the Final Four. Malachi Richardson was from Trenton, so I got to see him in high school play for Trenton Catholic, and then go to Syracuse and watch him play for Syracuse. So I was always rooting for him. And Michael Benedict from Richmond, Kyle's favorite player, actually.
There you go. Kyle getting a shout out here on the program.
We had that little rivalry freshman year. So those 2 guys, I'll remember them probably the most from.
ACC or Big East?
ACC.
Yeah.
Best conference in sports.
Grammy,
college sports.
You were there the days of the Big East. Chris, I've met a couple of your girlfriends over the years, not too many, but I know you're a family man, and so what would you say the qualities you are looking for in a future wife?
Oof, that's a tough one. Somebody that can keep up with we'll go with nerdiness and quips in terms of movie quotes that I just drop on a daily, me being weird or whatever, but they got to be able to play ball. They can keep up with me. But also put me in my place if I need to. I can sometimes I know myself, and sometimes I can be annoying. And not annoying. We'll go with a lot to handle at times.
Yes.
So,
strong women, if you're listening out there. But yes, I am very fortunate to have a wife who's very strong herself. You need that. If you could only have one social media app, which one would you have?
Probably Instagram, because of it's obviously pictures and videos, and I'd rather see something than write something.
Yeah.
And like I said, movie, TV guy. But
let me ask you a business. Can you not do an Instagram post from a laptop? It has to be on your phone?
You can. The website for Instagram isn't as fluid as the app.
Okay. I'm new to Instagram. I'm getting on there. I'm starting. I know we're following each other. Yep. So a short-term goal, 3 to 5 months. It's going to be a quick 3 to 5 months.
3 to 5 months. Have an interview. Have a job interview, or a couple of them.
You hearing that, everyone? Let's get them an interview.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest goal. Pass my capstone class.
I would like to see that product.
Yeah,
I'd like to get it for my daughters.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're not allowed to have it at school, but I need her to have.
It's important. It's definitely important. You have to be able to feel safe walking home at night.
Long-term goal, 5 to 7 years.
Working for somebody that I enjoy working for on projects that I enjoy working for. I feel like I've worked hard enough and studied hard enough, and have a good enough knowledge of what I want to do to be able to do that. And hopefully I'm trying to be humble here, and hopefully I have done enough to do that. But I really do hope that I'm at a job that I really enjoy, living with the people that I want to live with, and surrounding myself with the people that I care about, and finding my place in the workforce.
You got to find your passion, Chris, and you dive in. So yeah, that's a good goal to have something you're passionate about and that you want to be good at, and dive right in. You gave me a quote here that you liked. I think it was from The Rock.
It's from The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He is the man.
You can read it there. You busted that out.
His quote is, "Be humble, be hungry, and be the hardest worker in the room." And he's a great follow on Instagram, by the way. You should definitely follow him.
Maybe Dwayne should follow me. How about that?
He very, very inspirational. Always posts a lot of motivation stuff.
Yeah.
And he drops his quote.
I like it
weekly.
I like it. Well, we're hungry because you've been playing baseball all morning here, and we're freezing. But be humble, be hungry, and be the hardest worker in the room. I like that. And this is the book you recommended by Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter, yeah. I think he may have another.
The Life You Imagine?
Yeah, The Life You Imagine,
okay.
By Derek Jeter. He wrote it at the beginning of his career with Jack Curry from the Yes Network. And it basically him recounting his struggles and his life leading into the majors, and talks about even like past relationships that he had, like staying out of trouble while being in the limelight, working hard, moving to Tampa so that he could be the first person in the training facility the day after the last game 162. He could be the first person in the training facility in Tampa.
Wow.
And he's the best baseball player I've seen grow up with. He was the best, he was a role model to me, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Growing up, because I got to watch him from birth. So it's just cool to see like he's a human being and his struggles, like playing in rookie ball and like single A and failing, but it's a really good story. And he writes it well with Jack.
Well, if you're reading that, Chris, and trying to do some of the things Jeter did, in terms of holding yourself to a high standard, being a good person, being good at your job, I wish you the best. So, Chris Carbonaro, everyone, wishing him the best at Syracuse. Chris, I appreciate you coming on here. I kind of threw it here in the last minute, but you said, let's do it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go enjoy Possibilities in Syracuse tonight.
Yep.
I want to give a shout out to your mom, Suzanne Carbonaro. She did run the Chicago Marathon today. I just got a text here from her, so she must be done.
Yep.
Susie Prof, congratulations. And certainly Chris's grandma, Dory, my mom. And I know our family's tuning in. So proud of this young man. Again, if you have a lead for Chris in that field of marketing and film and production, let's get him. And if you're a Syracuse alum, let's help this young man out. And looking forward to your graduation and the holidays coming here. So thanks for coming on, Chris.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I'm gonna try to cue this song up here again, and we'll end the show while you still can. So, Chris, let's get this playing here. Let's get the volume going. There we go. Back here. Chris, you're coming upon graduation, and it's loud, huh? I got to work on this. There we go. A little background music. I don't know why it's so loud. We're going to sign off here on Education, Leadership, and Beyond.
All right.
I wish you the best of luck coming up here in your senior year.
Thank you so much.
We're signing off, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Andrew Murata, at Andrew Murata 21 on Twitter. This is While You Still Can by Brothers Osborne.